up, man? Sound check. Sound good? Thanks.
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space.
Hope you're well.
As you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in. Wait, is this sci-fi? I thought we agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh, did we? That's cool. I can pivot. The smell of smoke curdles in your nostrils. Hold up, I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign. All right, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and dead
hiccups, but they turned out to be nothing afterwards.
Oh, just small hiccups.
A
Well,
zombie
yeah,
slayer,
my
disgraced general out for
husband,
revenge,
he had
space mercenaries
he scared
sent to
us a bit,
investigate
but
the
he was
power
just
plants. Now describe your
he just
characters.
changed his medication, so he
Oh.
had
How did you do
but we
that?
got scared here a bit. So
All right,
yeah.
well, I'm sorry to hear that, but
Yeah, but there was afterwards turned out it was nothing. It was just, but it scared us at the moment, especially me.
heart medication or?
And no, it was for diabetes. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But anyway, it can it can be a scary event. So yeah.
Well, glad to hear that. Got
It was
out.
just a side effect, so it was nothing to worry about. Yep.
Well, I'm assuming you got a whole bunch of new spells you can discuss.
Well, not that many new ones, but we'll see. Yeah,
Okay.
I can discuss magic in general.
Okay.
Because there's some effects to it, so we get to that.
All right, sure.
It's a good topic, so yeah.
Yeah, we
It's
got guests the
definite.
next 2 Sundays, so we're off the hook. We
Yeah.
got.
This is good. I needed this too, so yeah.
Yeah, cool. We got Doug next Sunday and Ed the week after.
Mm-hmm.
So, awesome.
There we go.
A story once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures
Hey, Keith.
has to bend.
I don't know how many people will be watching tonight, but who cares? You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From countless voices, the castle takes shape. Zagig will test the enduring. Those unlucky will never escape.
Hey, Greg. Yeah, I didn't get home till 9:30 last night, so yeah, it was a good time.
If you don't
Party
get home
last
because of good time, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Draga here.
We're ahead. Hey, Kurt. We're ahead of schedule here, which is I'm shocked. Let me hit what button am I hitting? Oh boy, is it this
Oh,
one?
I thought I was late. Really
Nah,
late.
we're good.
Yeah. Okay, good.
You're
Yeah.
good. You're good. You're good. You're good. I thought for a second I'd be, scrambling, but pretty much caught up now. Alrighty. Just run twice. Boom, 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 boom. Alrighty. Thanks, Prometheus. Oh, wow. Hey, Star, thank you, too. Look, we got a hype train already. Yay! What, evicted Washi from your backyard? What's that mean? What'd you have, a bunch of frogs or something? Giant toads?
Yeah. Like
like
cane
that.
toads or something. It's like I hear that Canadian Wastry. That's awesome. Okay. Yep. Yeah, when I take Chico, we have a park there. There's a lot of tadpoles in the. There's a little creek there, and there's full of tadpoles at the moment. But they're probably frogs and. Yep.
Thanks, Rascal. I used the special hero points well Saturday. I got some good crits. Yeah, good. It's Monday. There was no way I could do it last night. Like I said, I didn't get home from party / us celebrating our anniversary until like 9:30 last night. So it was like better off to do it today. So, yep. Just check something real quick here.
Yep.
Hey, long shot. Oh, you watch it? Cool. Well, I got like games almost every Saturday running through 4th of July. So, yeah. Oh, quick, Chris. I still owe you the adventures coming. What's up, Naz? Alright. I think I'm going to start standing. Oh. Spells and more spells. Everyone always asks when I use something crazy during a game, where's that spell come from? Well, I'll try and do a lot of that. So.
Yep. Good.
Hey, Sparky. Hey, darling. Alright, look at that, 656, come live. Alright, we're gonna reset my camera because I gotta stand for a bit. I am so sore today because I did something. I actually did yard work today. I mean, you know, not clipped a lot of things, so I wasn't super strenuous, but still I'm so sore. So, yeah. My crit tables were laser. What's up? 61 months, my gosh. So. You added, what did Lando add? I added repair injury. Wow, isn't that amazing? You added repair injury to your CNC game. Sparky, I did too. Jay's crit tables were crippling everyone. Well, you make me feel good by saying that, so that is awesome. And look at this, Marquis. Rachel is coming in from her art stream. So awesome. Great to see you. What's up? Thank you. We're going to, because I'm on tonight with Anna instead of last night, you get out. Hey, you're going to hear some spells that I used on you probably, guys, on Saturday. Spells and more spells tonight. Yeah, it's going to be, perfect timing. Thank you so very much here. So that means my secondary channel, I can throw up someone else who is here. I'll just bring up someone else there. Yeah, I had you a marquee on lurk there. So, but it's good to see you. Have to send you my dungeon mishap. Yeah, please. All right. So I really get these books out, and I got them in PDF now.
Oh yeah, the spell compendiums. Yep. I have them
Cool, Rachel,
somewhere,
thank
but
you.
I have them in PDF too. But
And Mark, yeah. So
Yeah.
I have them in PDF too, and we're going to show some on PDF.
and there were spell compendiums for priest compendiums too. I think
There
were.
are, yeah, but for
Yeah.
the most part, we'll talk about some clerical spells. But I
They
imagine we'll
didn't
do a
do
lot of
any
wizards.
druid ones, or
The druid ones are in the clerical book, if I recall
That's
correctly.
true. Yeah, that might be. I haven't looked in them for so many years that I.
But there are, if you can't, like, if there was a one, I wanted to check on a couple because I have what's called, we called them back in the day packet spells because
Packet spells.
Yeah, well, they were like miscellaneous from ever photocopied, and that's where it was. Like, so say something was in Dragon 98, and there's no PDFs back then. I take my Dragon magazine, I photocopy it, and then I put in, or from here's one, scatter spray, in a publication. Let me here's one that we're going to talk about. And it may not be in here, maybe in the Elementalist book. But let me try if I can find Arnvid's in here. Here. There's one. Right there. You can't read it. It says Arnvid's Unseen Limbs. Now, Ravalantar has this, and he's like, what the hell is that? So, we'll look it up, and then Wizard Spell, it should be in there. I know Agonizer Scorcher is, so I have spells I made back in the 90s in Lando's binder. Yeah, well, Lando, you know how many freaking binders I got. So, and I also have this. These are a lot of the new. There's all these are some Alan created, some I created for GREYHAWK mages. We got a whole bunch of these too. Everything we can discuss. So, what's up, Tim? Thanks for Tim. I don't know if you got your father and you're playing D&D now or whatever. That Trump's coming on, so don't worry about it, man. But if you can hop on, but before 9, just do it. So yeah, I know he's got I think he's running G1 for his dad and son.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. During the holidays. All right, so I saw one first. Let me see if I can locate it. We're just going to bounce all over the place, and we're going to talk about some really cool spells. And I'll bring up the publication. So that's, of course, that's one I don't have. So let's go to Spells and Magic and see if I can find it. The Player's Option book, Spells and Magic, which is a great one. It's all in the Wizard Spell compendiums. Let me try players. Let me try Players Option. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is we've always talked about this one. This is a book where you can get, this is the Bible for creating second edition specialty priests in here. So I want to print the compendiums out at some point, I have to say. Man, that is a lot of pages. huge amount of pages. And there's a lot of spells that I use out of this book, so I'll keep this up so I don't have to find again. We're gonna go here to the priest spells, and absolutely have spells that are, and it's good. It's a good. There's a lot. These edition books. A Splat book has so much in it that you can go insane if you're using things that you're like, I don't know if I want to use this. So don't use it. And that's what I tend to do here. So here is the big one that you guys were talking about. It's 3rd level. So here, Rachel just used this with a vet on Saturday. This is Sun Scorch. So this spell is really cool. It's always been in my game. It's a Sun Sphere priest spell, right? 1st level, and basically you can only use it outdoor if there is not a rainstorm going on, right? The sun's got to be out. So with this, you do 1d6 plus level. You save negates, but undead it's 1d6 plus 2. All right, So and you can blind them as well with a fail. So that's a spell at range 40 yards, 120 feet. Boom, Sun Scorch, first level. Sun Sphere, priests get that spell. So there you go. That's out of this book here. So that's a cool one. But if we come down to the one you guys were talking about, notice by the way, see this? I did not give cure moderate wounds. I don't want priests to be all healing factories. So have a cure first, second, third, fourth. I said no, so that's why I didn't add that. I never added that cure moderate wounds spell because repair injury does the same thing, can do the same thing. So we come down to third level here, and here's the spell that you guys were all talking about because you said you needed it, and I'm glad that you are using it now. Did I go buy it? Here it is. Repair injury. This is the anti Ledla spell. Whoa, your warriors are going to be walking around missing limbs or have broken bones and what? Oh, this is the spell that undoes a lot of that stuff in the critical hit and fumble table. And you can use it, and it says right here, intended for use in campaigns featuring the critical hit or critical strike rules and fumbles for us. So, all right, Tim, we'll see you, man. If you can hop on, you can. What makes it the Bible for creating specialty priests? Aha! Rob, I'll show you that in a second. If used as a simple curing spell, repair injury restores 1d10 plus 1, which they can use, or they can heal the bone, or if it's a split knee, or it doesn't repair arms cut off or anything like that. You gotta go beyond that, but that's the spell.
Yeah, is this something that ties into your crit? Since you have these cool crit tables, then you need to have a spell. Yeah,
you really do, because if I'll give you an example. You get critical hit. And you get knee split, no movement, or knee split movement halved, or you fumbled and you pulled your strength's -8 because of you pulled your shoulder out, on a fumble. This heals it. This does it. So this is a third level spell that a lot of clerics in my campaign, especially priests, take.
Yeah, and this means this kind of shows a good that when you tinker with the rules, you need to start thinking of consequences. So when you put in things like cool crit tables that have specified types of damage and stuff like that, you need to tweak the magic system and the spells to fit the rules, so to speak. So that's one of the things. Even small house rules might require changes to spells.
100%, Anna. Now there was another spell that happened. Rob, I'll get to you in a second, I promise. That came up during Unearthed Arcana, which everyone said, well, the negative hit point rule sucks because once they go down to -1, even if you bind their wounds, they are done, and you cannot get them back under any circumstances. Hence, in Unearthed Arcana in the cleric area, this spell appears, Death's Door, right? And this is another one of those healing spells that have really helped us with the way we can use where is it? Oh, I'm in second. No wonder. Death's Door is third level as well. So we come to Death's Door here. This spell, he or she touches a human or demi-human is unconscious in a Death's Door, -1 to -9 points. The spell immediately brings the individual to 0. So they remain unconscious, but then they can be subject to getting other healing that'll put them back up and functioning right away.
Yep.
Hence, they're not useless once they go down into the negatives. And that was a thing we were seeing from 80 to 82, 81, 82, 83. We had to create some custom rules like a cure serious wound. We were doing cure seriouses and higher, 4th level spells would allow them to get back up because there was just no thing. But then they put that into the rules for us.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for it. Someone's reading our mind.
Yeah, in Hawk Tales, meaning there's like health levels. So you have like healthy, then you have more than half your hit points or more. Bloodied is when you have half or less. And then you're injured. That's when you're below 0, or then you're dying. And there's different levels of magic. So as long as you're healthy and you're not bloodied, cantrips can do the trick, so to speak. And then you need, if you're bloodied, you need first level healing magic in order to affect it. And then you go down to injured, you need second level, and so on. So
Okay.
and that way I needed to tweak the spells. So I tweaked them a little bit, gave them new names. So for instance, there is like you have cure injuries. That's a fourth level spell that
Okay.
that's like
It's almost
healing
like-
that brings you back up for it's not as it's like healing but a little bit less powerful, but it brings you back from the dying.
So it's almost like Death's Door.
Exactly, almost that. Yeah. So but I renamed them so they fit into the rule system, so to speak,
setting.
and tweak them. Yeah. So that's example just what you did. You took the spells, we changed a little bit of the description that they fit the house rules, so to speak. Yep.
I forgot to set the giveaway up. Hold on. Sorry about that. Give me one sec. Classic D&D reprints, of course. We're going to Monday night here. There you go. All right, cool.
Cure minor injury, that gives you back 1 hit points, so to speak. So you brought back to from injuries a little bit. That was simply I needed a very minor spell for low level characters. So when you have like first level, second level characters, low level characters should not be crippled when they go into a party. It will be harder for them, but they needed to have that magical aid. So it gives back from severe injuries to 1 hit point, so to speak. And then you have the more powerful. And heal is even more powerful. That is a 6th level. That brings you boom back up to full right away. So
we got a ton of heals in our game on Thursday night with all the high level priests we have. If you're 6, you got to be 12th level, I think, to cast 11th or 12th. I think one of the two. But and in original first edition, it's all about 1 to 4 hit points. So if no matter
something
how
like that.
high it is.
I have brings back a whole bunch. I'm going to rewrite it so it brings back to full hit points. Period.
Cool.
I think I will do that since it's a 6th level spell. So it's and then
makes sense.
But it's what I'm saying is that this is something that. And sooner or later, if you run long term, you will start tweaking with things a little bit. And that means that sooner or later, you have to look over, and especially spells that tie into some rules mechanic, like healing spells tie into how you deal with wounds and injuries. So like if you put in cool special damage from crits and stuff, that needs to be reflected.
Because that was the number one thing that Leonard Kafka said. Well, you're going to have the walking wounded, and that's true. So,
but you also have to deal with parties that don't have access to high level spells, like lower level. How crippled will they be?
Right.
Because sometimes you want to cripple them, but sometimes you need to do it carefully so you understand when you make house rules how crippling they will be for low level parties.
Right.
Well, so that's a
Yeah. So a lot of games have gone away from where maybe clerics aren't as important now. Well, clerics and priests are super important in my game still.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then the GREYHAWK specialty priests can have a lot of healing and have a lot of offensive too, depending on who their deity is. All right, Rob. So here's Appendix 4 in Player's Option. So here is all the spells as of this book and Tome of Magic and everything else in first edition, like the Arcana and Player's Handbook and all. They're all here and they're all broken down by their spheres. And this is where you can build a list. You can, based on their spheres, you can just build the entire spell list up. If they have a major access to the sphere, they get all the spells. If they have minor, they only get first, second, and third. So that's how you know. And this is it right here. And this is what I use to this day is that. Now I have to add in a lot of third edition spells I put in here. For example, Shield Others not on here. Greater Magic Fang and Minor and Magic Fang. I don't have those. And a lot of spells that from the third edition books that I utilize are not in here. But it's good. It's got to start somewhere. Yeah, this is so. As you see here. Rob, bold ones are Tome of Magic spells. Underlined are Player's Option spells. So it even shows you which is from which book. So that really, like here, Chaos Sphere. And we all know I use Battle Fate. It's a really good spell, first level. And that's in this book. So let's look at that too. It's a really good one. And Chaos Ward. All right, for example. And they're both chaotic spheres. So Tritherian priests always get those spells. Let's go back to Battle Fate while we're on it here. show you that one.
Need to get my copy of that book, so I have it ready here.
Player's Options, Spells and Magic.
Yeah.
It's a really good spell, and so is
Yeah.
Chaos Word. So I usually in Priests get both these spells. Tritharian Priests get both these spells. A lot of Elven Priests get these spells because it's Chaos. So if we come here, Sunscorch.
I haven't looked at this book for forever, but there was an interesting series when it was this was the last of the first edition era, if I remember correctly.
This is actually second.
Oh, it is second.
Second.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Second edition.
Yeah, it's the late.
It's right on that border. It's right on that border between first.
Yeah.
All right. So here's Battle Fate. 2 rounds per level. There's a table. So what you do is it's an enhancement really. There's really no penalties. You got +1 per 3 levels on the ability. So every round, and say you're 6th level priest, you're going to get this for 12 rounds. It's up to you to have access to this because, and I usually, here is the thing, which is cool. You roll a die 6, nothing happens on a 1. 2, armor class is goes +2. Saving throws go +2 and a 3, plus the hit goes on 4. Damage goes on 5 +2. 6 is the one where you get a bonus attack and your choice of one of the others. So that's a Chaos Sphere spell. I use the Battle Fate spell all the time. Let's go to 3rd level. Another Chaos Sphere spell I love. This is called Chaos Word. Like I said, you'll see my guys buff these up a lot more. Like you'll see Bill's character, Trevin, his Priest of Tritharian, when he really needs to, he'll hit this up. Wait a minute. It should be right. Did I go by it? Fortify. Dictate. These are 3rd here. Where is Chaos Word? Or Chaos Word 2nd.
Yeah, these were very late 2nd edition, 1996.
Oh yeah,
this from. Yeah,
that's why a lot of people don't know
they
about
were
them.
the last 2nd edition stuff.
Chaos Word is 2 rounds per level as well. This spell here, melee combat -1 to your armor class, missile -2. Spells directed you and missiles you roll on this table. Add your level, and these are the following effects that will happen. So say you have an archer penning on you. 0185, nothing. 8695, it's just defeated, so the arrow doesn't reach you. Or the magic missile spell doesn't reach you. 96 to 99, it ricochets, which is fun because it could hit your friends, allies, or enemies if you're fighting them. But 100 plus, so if say you're 6th level, you roll 94 or greater, you're gonna reflect that back. So that's a cool one too. And it's 2nd level. It's a nice spell. So yeah. Yep, another nice one. So what's up, Enoch? Gotcha. So oh crap. Just dropped my seltzer down. Give me a sec here.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. It's just seltzer. It's just water.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
so then,
just seltzer water. So a nice spell. Here. I'll soak it up here. I've got some paper towels. Thank God it wasn't the coffee. But Chaos Sphere only, so you're not seeing. Heronius is not getting this. Any neutral good deities like Alana is not getting this. It's got to be Chaos, true Chaos ones. So your best bet as a good aligned one's Tritharian. And a lot of the other Elven deities will, have a possibility of getting this. So, but you will see. I use Arithnal Priests getting this spell. So, and both those 2 spells, Battle Fate and Chaos Word. So, pretty neat. Now, another thing, if you know about, see, we're bouncing all over it's just counter dry seltzer. That's it. No sugar, just water. Yeah. Hey, Star will be playing in 2 Saturdays. Rob, I need to talk to you about this Saturday, by the way, as well. So sit tight, Phantom. Let me see if I can find this book. Oh my God, my brain just shut off what I was going to do. Okay, well, don't you hate when that happens? If I remember what I was doing, I will go back to it. Wow, I'm all. It was going to be something clerical. Oh, I know now. Let me see if I can find it. I can see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, prayers. I don't remember the name of it. The first, what's the specific name of the first Forgotten Realms deities book
Oh,
that Eric Boyd was not the main author on it, but he did most of the spells.
now I need to.
It's not Powers and Pantheons. That's the third one. Oh my gosh. Is it Face and Pantheons? I don't think that sounds right. Face
No.
and Avatars?
Faith and Avatars. That sounds maybe. Yep. Faith and Avatars. Let's see what
I thought that was Faith.
I found the PDF here, so just
I got it. Yep, Face and Avatars. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah.
This is a weird copy here. All right, so Face and Avatars. We're going to go near the end here. Wow, this is a strange copy I got. I don't even know where this one comes from. Well, I could just bring it up here. So, in Face and Avatars, Eric Boyd, we know Eric created this, has the Crusader class. So, I'll just bring up my version of the Crusader class here, and then the spell list, right? So, let me bring them both up. All right. So here's another place you're going to see those chaos spells appear. So the Crusader class itself is a class that Eric created. It's kind of like a poor man's paladin for. You remember how you had all the different paladins? These got to be diametric. So chaotic good, chaotic evil, lawful good, lawful evil. That's it, right? So you're going to get Iusian Crusaders, you get Tritherian Crusaders, Heronius Crusaders. They're kind of like a warrior priest. So with these, you'll have your spell list is set, but they're on this list is both cast spells and lawful spells, right? So here is, if you come here, here's Battle Fate. It's got a tilde next to it, right? And then what's lawful have? I always forget. Lawful has the star. Okay, and so lawful sphere only or chaos sphere only, depending. You get all the other spells, but yeah, Cat Crusader, Lawful Crusader only. So here's another place where you could use those spells. I like this class. It's a neat deviation off of, well, instead of playing a paladin, say you want to play, you really want to you don't want to do a priest to Tritherian, but you want to go more in the combat realm. You take this, or So it's a cool option. Kind of like Cavalier with spells, baby. Kind of like Cavalier, but they're not all lance based and things like that. But yeah, you're kind of like that. Yep, Holy Warrior type. Plus, then they can use Holy Avengers and they can use other things. So that's another place where you'll see those spells being used. Just to share that. So, yep. So, Dark Elf, it's okay. It's another option, and you can't multi-class it. So, it's definitely another option for us. All right, let me throw up. Now, finally get to my folder here. Now, there's so many spells. We're not going to scratch the surface, right, on spells, but we'll get to some. And some of them are funny, like, I go back and forth with Ed and on stuff, and I say, Ed, that spell is second level. That's ridiculous. And he's like, I know. But I was just trying to balance out how straight class mages were getting, And I said to him, well, Ed, the straight class mage is kind of, before all the specialty classes now, it's kind of gone away a little bit. But he's like, yeah, I know. But so, and I'll share that right off the bat. One of the favorite Ed spells that, and we talked about this actually, when they played, 2 Saturdays ago, actually, a week ago. This spell by itself removed the Creeping Doom that got cast. And here it is, Agonizer Scorcher. All right. This spell you'll never see in GREYHAWK unless you use it, right? It's a Forgotten Realms spell. First appears in a Dragon magazine. That's why it's like a packet spell for me. I was like, oh, that's a cool spell. I photocopied it, put it in our book, put it in our Fire Elementalist book, and general. It's a general spellcasters can use it too. And then realized this is too nasty for second level. You notice that? I jumped it all the way up to 4th. It's so nasty. So, Agonizer Scorcher. How many have used this spell?
No, I know you used it. I've heard you talked about it before. But I've never used it, so yeah.
If you played, yeah. Hey Skageth, if you played Icewind Dale 1 or 2, I think 2, this was in there, and it was cool effect. So what you do is you cast the jet, you hit a target, and that target gets hit for 3d6, and there's no save. No save. Except for fire resistances. And then you can walk your movement rate and hit anything in the line between that target and you. So you can go a 90-degree arc. It's pretty nasty. Now they get a save for 2d8 for half. That ain't a second level spell. Was it in Baldur's Gate, Lord Forth? I don't think it was in Baldur's Gate 1, was it? Yeah. I'll take your word for it if it was in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Jay, have you put together like a Excel spreadsheet or something where you get how powerful a spell from a certain level can be, or do you simply use seat of your pants? You know the gut, you know and also how much less powerful does it need to be in order to be a cleric spell or a druid spell or something? Yeah.
So back when, what was the database manager that was with Excel called?
Access.
So Access came out and like in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Tim's dad, John, started entering all our spells into this
have
Access
that
database.
Still a GREYHAWK database with rules and stuff. I've converted into Obsidian now, but yeah.
Yes, but he got Druid done, and then I never stopped adding. So like he had like, I don't know, 600 spells in there, and I'm thinking to myself, John, I still have probably another 3,000 to 4,000 spells, and it's just gonna keep on adding on as we go, and we still add on spells to this day. And then John got a little ill and stuff, and didn't play as much, so we never finished. It just was too much. It goes more on use, and it's not second Lord Forth, it's 4th. I made it 4th level. It's not a second level spell.
I have 370 spells added to Hawktails as
see, that's today, manageable.
So oh yeah, but I needed to take all the basics first and then add a bunch of extra cool that I needed, and I put them in as needed. But I also needed to tweak and change them all to fit the Hawktail rules, which is not terribly difficult. It just need to, because saving throws are a bit different, and they're also added features, so that you need to figure out what kind of energy is the spell using. Is it like a Fey-based spell? Is it elemental? Is it and stuff like that? So that goes on top, so to speak. That and also. What conduit? Is it an arcane spell, a divine spell, a primal spell, all three, or only 2 of them, or that's another consideration, because almost all of them are divine, but not all of them are arcane, and much less of them are primal, so to speak.
So, Dragonheart, can you move it like you can in 1E2E, where you target something and you move it along, you sweep? Or does it just hit direct point on a 3d8 fire damage and a failed save? It sounds like it's only a single target shot or beam or whatever. So I'm just curious.
Have you tweaked anything with the when it comes to components, or you use standard whatever, like material components? Have you tweaked any of that? Do you still go with the monetary component for?
We still go with the components that are there, but I don't push that much as far as. My game's not a minutia game, right? And it's just like when they ask, what a new player will always say, "What basic equipment do I have on my sheet?" You don't have that. I was like, I don't. You can have whatever. You can have rope, You can have a couple iron spikes. You can have a couple. You have a week's worth of rations. I'm okay with that basic stuff. When you go, oh, I want a spyglass or or something like that, then it's a different story. So and that's where we go with that because in our game, I try not to overwhelm them too much with. I mean, keeping track of arrows is hard enough for the players.
Oh yeah, the reason they put components in there was a way to regulate the power of spellcasters, because it was something that otherwise these really powerful spells like resurrection or whatever, they put components in there as limitations. You have to find a diamond worth X amount of gold pieces or stuff that are hard to get by. So which is kind of tricky, because that means that sometimes you just overlook it and just assume that you have it.
Right.
And it's one of these things that you overlook it until you want to punish the party or the spellcaster.
Right.
That's when you're
true.
You're now in a big deep dungeon. How the heck are you going to find bat guano? Oh, it's in the dungeon, but you're out in the wilderness. There's no bats out here in the desert or whatever. So so it's one of these things that there's a little bit. So but it's one of these things that most times most DMs don't bother with it at all. And then you do it, to be anal or to punish the party.
For me, if it's a monster spell like a wish spell or that they're casting, or a resurrection or something, so Dragon here, the Agonizer Scorcher in 5th edition is different than the 2nd edition one. I like the 2nd edition one, and you can see why it's not 2nd level the way it's set. It is just, it's nasty. Because think about this. You have 13 orcs in front of you. Let's even do gnolls. 13 gnolls. The mage casts a spell on one that's the furthest back in the row. Hits that one. That one does 3 die 6, 18. Walks an arc around, right, 60 feet. Boom. Hits all the other ones in the line for 2. That first round for 2 to 16 save for half. And then the second round, it's on, and he can, and there's other things going on, but he can hit friends with this too. But just so that's it. Yeah, exactly, John. It's got to be something that there's a special reason for it.
I think that's one an interesting way you can deal with it. Don't bother with components unless they are rare magic components.
So here's one of my
components.
This is one of my favorite spells. I know there's only four as far as I can know. Well, I know of 2. Gazumba has it, and Ravalantar has it. Because Ed didn't know what this did either. This is a spell, and I guess he didn't write this, but I thought he did. Because it came from one of those same articles. Here we go. It's an A, so it's right here. This is a really cool spell, and this will help out if someone gets, loses a leg, especially.
So what document are you looking at now?
This is Wizard Spell Compendium Volume 1.
Okay. Yep.
Here it is. All right, and this is 4th. Arnvid's Unseen Limb. Okay. Especially if you don't have a regenerate spell nearby. The duration's an hour per level. Maybe it may get you through the adventure. The wizard causes an invisible limb, arm, hand, leg, or foot to come into being. This is basically a conjuration summoning spell. So it's not a healing spell. It creates a fake prosthetic. This limb can replace a missing limb or can be used to create an extra one, which is kind of neat too. The invisible limb functions exactly as a normal limb, except that at the option of the recipient. Part of it can become a material so as to pass through solid objects. It can't pass through a wall of force and hedge out protection from evil. Limb has normal touch sensations. It can be used to wield weapon, replacing a missing arm or hand. The limb bestows no extra senses other than touch. So there you go. So say, see, it says notes very rare, updated from Dragon Magazine. Of course, they don't say what dragon number it originally came from, but I know that's where I got it from. Yes, it's an invisible prosthetic limb, and trust me, it's been. Someone gets a limb cut off right at first encounter with a lucky crit. You're gonna want to, and your mage has this spell, 4th level, which means you gotta be 7th level or higher. Good spell to have. Cause, yep. What's up, Curtis? Nice, man, nice. So, and let me see. I don't know if I have my shout out done for this weekend. I don't think I do. I should have. Let me see. Oh, I only have Coco down, so I don't have Curtis and Brett so far. So we're doing this Saturday's is a little different. It's not going to be any of our. It's going to be a higher level Saturday game, starting at 11, I think. Right? Yep. And Curtis and Brett are in with Coco, and I'm going to get some others in. So Rob, Phantom, I'm gonna if you're available this Saturday. All right, and then we'll go from there. All right. So my only question is why invisible? Um, you, I would you. I don't know, but it says because the name of the spells Arnvid Unseen Limb. That's why. But you're going to see the sword attached to the missing arm. You're going to have an invisible arm and you're going to have the sword. So yeah, that's just the way the spell was written. So and Ed does not believe he wrote this, but I think he may have forgotten about it. So all right, cool, Rob. It'll be probably your dwarf furtive. Durgam. Awesome. There's Curtis. Yo, Tom. Good spell. Very rarely needed or used, but a spell that I think it's cool. And it's outside of the healing realm. It's temporary. So, yep. The lunatics, that's it exactly. All right, Anna, I got so much here, but you can pop up some.
Yeah. It's we talked about components. I can mention a little bit. I have 14 different components in Hawktails because I've used components to add more flavor and not necessarily complications. So there are certain things like, what if a spell that you can only cast in a special location? It needs to be cast in and at a special location. It might be a special time, and it can only be cast when there's a full moon or when the Selene is full or some other stuff like that. So you can have time constraints, you can have geographical constraint. It can also be, and I also wanted to make certain spells like necromancy and other stuff more flavorful, so you get certain conditions. So some of them cost you damage, you have to sacrifice hit points in order to cast it. You might get another condition. You might die from casting it because it's so powerful. So that's a way to make powerful magic more limited. And there's also, you have to sacrifice some evil life force in order to resurrect someone, for instance. So that's another one you can do.
Cool.
To do it. So there's a bunch of them. So you have a bunch of them. I also made performance a component. You need to sing or something for bard spells because you don't have any classes. So that means that I needed to have because I wanted preserved bards. So there are certain spells that you can only do when you do a singing performance, or certain spells that you need drums for instance, or something like that, more for flavor. So there bunch of that. So there is all in all 14 different components. The standard ones plus the extras. Certain ones requires XP sacrifice, for instance, or something like that. So and some of them are time, for instance, they can only cast them a certain time of year or something, or graphical. So
well, yeah, I mean, if Dragonlance had the moon phases.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Based
so I wanted
on
to tie into I was more thinking like elven magic. You can only cast these things at the festivals, for instance, or might put for special divination spells that only works at and stuff like that. So these aren't for the everyday spells, but for some spells, powerful, very things to find out stuff and talk to the dead ones might only be able to be done on unhallowed ground or hallowed ground or something like that. You can only cast it in a good aligned temple, for instance, or an evil aligned something and stuff like that. So that is one of the, and since I don't have any classes, I needed to limit certain spells other ways, so to speak. So components was one of the ways that I felt that I could limit magic rather than having from the from classes. And that's another thing. When you tweak with the rules in one end, it comes back to you in another end, so to speak.
You got to be careful. Once again, this is all you got to continuously play test. I'm not saying I'm the be all end all in this, everyone. Just know
but exactly.
40-some years of
same here.
Playing,
I'm just saying, it's just that you need to.
I'll throw stuff in.
Yeah, things have consequences from one end to the other, and it might be good ones because you might add new flavor into it, but you also need to worry so you don't add unnecessary complexity into it too.
was trying. I know Coco was lurking. I'm not sure if she's still there, but so let's do this next spell.
Yep.
One of her favorites. In fact, one of the first times Mark and Rachel from Marquee played, I think it was the second time they played, this spell got used and accidentally took out Mark's character, Solus. But also, and this comes from the Drow of the Underdark book. Now, a lot of the spells in here are really specific to the Dark Elves, right? But there's really a good one here for mages. And for me, it's under General Mage. It's not Water Elementalist, because Mel Sassadaro isn't either. So we come down to the spells here. Right, mages are first. We're going to go to 4th level. And here it is. Acid, all right, here it's called Acid Bolt. So if you were watching Saturday, you saw that she cast Acid Bolt on the witch, on Norina the witch at the end. Very cool. And it says here, and this is, like I said, Drow the Underdark book by Ed. Surface dwelling wizards view this spell as an improved version of Mel Sassadaro, but the Acid Bolt is a very old spell. Thought to date from before the descent of the Drow. Kind of cool background is put on this. So you get this liquid out here, and you get a bolt, and it forms a 10-foot radius sphere of acid and explodes outward in a burst of liquid. If you get splashed, you take 2d4, and you get to save for half. The person who gets struck directly suffers 4d4, no save, and all items worn. If there's something ridiculous, like they got a skull in their hand or something, see if that gets destroyed. Splash damage lasts only 1 round. Direct hits do damage for multiple rounds unless the acid's neutralized. So every additional 3 rounds, it's 1d4. So this is a big thing you can catch in this area effect. A lot of creatures. Now, the main target's going to take a lot of damage with this Acid Bolt. But, right, it's 4th level. But the 2d4, you can get a lot of creatures in it, but they'll die. They're going to take 4d4 plus then another 1d4 no save for every 3 levels. So, I think it's every 3, not 4. Let me make sure on that. Every 3, and if you all know, Farland's 9th, so she did 4d4 on her, and then die 4 for the next 3 rounds. And acid is nasty. Acid damage is very nasty. So this is a spell. Once again, this is another one of those rare spells. I'm not throwing them out to everyone. You gotta have to find this on someone else. I'm not letting. I want to take that for my. When I learn something, it's got to be somewhere in a special library or whatever to find it. This is one of those another special spell. I don't want every mage running around with this. But she got it from a dark elf. So there you go. That very cool spell. There's some other cool spells in here. One I like, which I tend to not give out to surface dwellers. I think it may be priest. Let me check it. It's priest. That's why, because it's dark elven priests. But I mean, Zin Carla's in here too from the books, if you remember that, where she turns Zaknafine into a, big zombie Darkfire. Where is it? Where is it? Mind touch. Continual fairy fire. So this is how they fairy fire up their realm, right? But imagine getting that cast on you, and you can't. You got to get it dispelled by dispel magic or something. It's permanent. Yeah, that's kind of sucks. So that's. But it's a priest spell, so we're not having surface dwellers running around a lot with a continual fairy fire on them. But it's a cool spell.
Well, yeah, and to me, it's kind of an obvious spell that is kind of cool. So yeah,
yeah. So Ed did a good job with this in the 2nd edition era. So that's another spell. Yeah, permanent afterglow. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one. I'm going to add that to my list of spells to do. Yep, great
Excellent.
one. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, let me show you something.
And one spell that was a little bit problematic, it was the permanency spell. But I really liked it was cool in 1st edition. I think it made it into 2nd, and I might be. I'm not. It was a spell that you can use to make other spells permanent. So
right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with that spell that a lot of people don't know.
I was just going to say it's
in the Dungeon Master's Guide in 1st edition. There's like what special weird effects that they don't want the players to know about in that book. Permanency, if you cast it on yourself, say I want to put protection from normal missiles on myself permanently, that drains a con point from the spellcaster permanent. If you put it on an item, say you put on armor or you put like something on a weapon or whatever, there's only a 5% chance, but there's still that the spellcaster loses a point of con. So if you're
but
high level
you have
mages,
an interesting that's one of, because permanency is such a powerful spell, and if I remember correctly, it was like 4th or 5th level or something like that. 8th level. Okay, so it is, but even then, it's something that is really, really powerful because you create these permanent ones. So that's where I think that you should have some sort of component or something like that spellcaster need to make a permanent sacrifice or near permanent sacrifice in order to cast it, because that way you wouldn't go around boosting everything over time.
100%.
Yeah.
Plus, as we got out of the Monty Hall era, we started. We had this one super high level character, Bill Laughlin, 21st level mage, and they're looking, and he became more and more. He's like, I'm too busy, so I can't see it, because they're trying to get stuff permanency on weapons and gear and armor. And I'm like, I can't have this, So I got away from all that, and then he finally is. High level mages always go off like Leomund. He's and his tower you put on the map. So his tower is actually on the map down in Western Selene, but I have him. He's missing now because that way I don't have to deal with it. So they're not going back. Yeah,
they go missing.
Because how many priests, how many wizards in my campaign can cast 9th level spells? And
what is it, like 3 or 4 or something like that?
Brought up from first 0. Like Fensick's the highest. Like Tim's got Skeeve, but Skeeve's really a Monty character. Some spells at a real cost in AD. They do. Enchantment item I think was 6th. Permanency was 8th. Yep. Can you give it someone else's con? Like need that spell. Manfred, you can do anything if you're evil. You can figure it out, right? Yeah, of course. There's ways around things. Always. All right. So this is my miscellaneous magic user book for spells. So this doesn't.
It looks thin. I thought you had a really thick one. Lots of
a lot of it
is like 6 other books with spells.
So the page 1, and I want to show you this. So I started taking stuff out of GS's Great Net Spellbook R2 is Rookin' Rituals, Excalibur book.
You should have the link for that one somewhere. So that
all over the place.
I think I have the Great Net book.
Great Net Spellbook. Stuff's all over the place. Let me do this. Let me see if I have. All right, here it is. I'll bring this up. Now, but the funny thing is, you're going to look at this, and you're going to laugh. All right. So, and you can see I haven't like centered it lately. All right, so here it is, right? 9th level, right? Notice. All right, there's some miscellaneous spells. Now, I want you to look at what I've supplemented in the last, 15, 20 years. Look at the chicken scratch all through there. Look at that. See all that? That's all added spells. Right? So how many times have I added spells to this miscellaneous? These aren't elemental spells. These are general magic user spells. So we got stuff from
I have
Eldritch...
the 6th edition. I think that's the latest. I have that book, and it's ginormous. Yeah.
Why, Greg? That's just time I don't have. Because I got spells from Eldritch Might, Eldritch Sorcery, Eldritch Might 2, Welcome Rituals 2. I've added on all sorts of stuff. I've added in to the list here, and it's just crazy, man. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of these here. I'm going to show you some Great Net Spellbook tricks of spells, and I've used these a lot. We had Alpha on. You remember what's his name again? Remember the guy who's Alpha? We had him on about a year and a half.
Oh,
2 years ago.
We had Nelson from Legendary Games.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, you found him, and I made the connection when you talked about his spells from Great Netbook.
What a wonderful! Fun. Yeah, that was definitely having him on. So you may see some Alpha spells here. I'm trying to figure out what great. I'm just looking for the list.
I think if we go through that, there are some now famous celebrated game designers in the list here.
There probably is, 100%.
That put them in here decades before they got famous in the industry, so to speak.
That was the same list, I think. All right, so I'm trying to find my miscellaneous magic user list. Magic user spells, because this is one I didn't let leave them. Let me. Mage point. All right, I'm trying to find my spell description list that I have in here, and I don't know what I titled it because it's been a while. Let me just do this. Let me just type in the name of it. I think it'll show. Aha! It did. All right, so this is the first iteration of this. All right, but let's go down to this. So I don't like monster summoning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want more control. So here are some of the summoning spells, and you'll see these. My summoners will come in. Here's first level Dog Call. Now I actually have given out a wand of Dog Call before. So as you can see, if it's a wand, and wands are only 6th level. Here's Peter Gorley, shows up a lot in the Grey Net spellbook. Duration is 2 rounds per level. So say you have a wand of it and you're 6, you can summon 6 1-hit die wild dogs or 3 war dogs with it, two hit die, and there you go. You're summoning dogs. That's it. And that comes from. There's some really cool ones in here. Here's another one, Centipede Call. Another one from the Grey Net spellbook. Ape Call, one of my favorites, because it summons carnivorous apes. That's one of my favorites, third level. Yep. 1 hit die level worth of a carnivorous apes. Yep. Hey Coco, yeah, we just shared your favorite acid bolt spell just a little bit. We just talked about it that you cast. Hey, go ahead, Anna.
I was going to say that is very interesting when you talk about summoning spells, so to speak, and there's like 3. I love to overthink things. So I took 3rd edition and kind of went with it when it came to Hawk Tales. So there's like 3 different ways you can do it. You can conjure things. That spells that comes. The monster creature is created from magic out of thin air, so to speak. It's just right. You just create something. The magic creates the creature out of thin air. It's not a real creature. It's not an illusion, but it's a creation spell that creates the creature out of thin air. Those are the really powerful in that sense. They have a hard time to do really powerful critters, so to speak. And then you have summoning spells. That's something, right. The spell that brings something usually from the outer planes. You summon in something from the higher planes or the lower planes and stuff like that. That's another way of doing it. Calling, that's when the animal needs to be in the vicinity and you just tell it to come here, so to speak. That's true. When you summon. Yeah, when it's called
wrong. The spell's wrong because it says here exactly. It can summon up. Yeah, it should be called ape summoning.
So what I did in Hawk Tales, I renamed them and they are put in what kind of effect they're using. And then you have the gate spell that you open a gate and you let something come through, so to speak, which is not really a summoning spell, but it's worth mentioning here that you can open. And so there's technically you can open a gate and then you can use calling for something through a gate. So there's ways around to get even devils and angels or whatever come too. But those are things. And when it comes to how the mechanics works in Hawk Tales, they are really different, so to speak, because depending on where you are, if you're in an area that is like if you're in a weird Debbie plane, then neither of them might work, but summon might work, but for things that are somewhere else. Calling only works for things that are local, so to speak. If you're in an anti-magic area or something that make magic reduced, you might not be able to conjure or summon, but you might be able to call them, so to speak, depending on what type of limitations. So it's very much up to where do you cast the spell and what are you after, so to speak, and how powerful then. So I just wanted to point that out because in 3rd edition and they also talked about it in earlier edition too, but they didn't formalize it in the rules, so to speak.
Right.
But it's hinted at in the names, and it's funny because some of these spells were misnamed almost on purpose. They are called
Right, absolutely.
conjuration, but they are actually summonings
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah.
So, Dark Elf, that's always been and also Patrick. Yeah, I think that's the difference. You can't do dispel magic on an elemental, conjure earth element or elemental. You can't. It doesn't work. But
Yeah.
a monster summoning spell may. It may. It depends
Yeah,
on the DM.
that's why having a
Yeah.
hawktail. So an
Yeah.
animal that is called in, you can't dispel.
Right.
A summoned animal, boom, you
Right.
can dispel them. You can banish them to back
Right.
to where they came from, so to speak. A conjured, no, it's harder because you need to dispel the spell rather than send the animal back, so to speak. So, but to banish
If you need
something
to.
or dispel them, so that's another way. You need to understand how the creature got here in the first place in order
Right.
to get rid of it magically, so to speak. Yeah.
It's a good point.
But Dark Elf, that's one of the things that I have, that they have certain things. So the conjured creatures are real in some senses, but not in all of them.
Right.
And I don't want to go into the details,
Right.
but I'm
Elementals
putting that out
always.
there.
You can't dispel an elemental that's summoned.
Exactly. Because you can send them back to, but since
Right.
the elemental plane is the earth itself, you can't.
Right.
You can't dispel them, but you can take a monster from the upper planes or the lower planes and send them back to where they came from. So yeah.
All right, I'm going to share that. One of my
But
favorites.
that is interesting. That as a DM in your house rules, you need to figure out how much details you want to be in, so to speak. Do you say blanket it just works, or do you want to be how much hair do you want to twist around in order to do this, so to speak?
Well, yes, Patrick. All right. I'm going to ask this question, and I don't want anybody lying. How many mages have banishment in their spell book, and how many of them actually memorize it ahead of time? Because remember, my special games are different. I even let Ed spell point. But my guys, they ain't wasting a slot on a banishment spell. You know, especially higher level, because banishment's what, 6th or 7th? So they're taking the disintegrate spell over a banishment spell any day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the problem.
And when you play Hawktails, that will be where you go hunting, so to speak.
Well, yeah.
If you want to go into the worst evil temple, skip the banishment. But if you're defending a good temple, to have a banishment for something that evil that comes your way might be very, very powerful, because then you have the backing of the surroundings. So the surroundings will be very important where you cast magic, so to speak. So where you go will choose. The same thing with calling and summoning and conjuration spells might also be where are you going, so to speak. So that might be what environment you're in. Which means that when you're low level, you're usually out in not so difficult places, but when you go up in level and you go up into other planes and you're into the most evil of places or whatever, so to speak. So meaning if you're a paladin, if you want to go in and a cleric and a caster, if you go into an evil temple of elemental evil, you choose one spell. If you're in a good temple and you protect it from evil intrusion, other spells might do a better job, so to speak. So yeah.
Tom's on from the group, and Tom's got a great question. And Tom, I'm going to answer that in a second. This is a fantastic question. Let me see here. I forgot the Tom head up here. Here we go. So, but first things first. I want to point. I'll do it in a second, Tom. 2 spells that are coming up that I love. All right. This one is called Backstab Backlash.
Oh.
So Russian and Wyatt, and then I modified it. There you go. That kind of answers. This spell creates an invisible magical field covering the back of the spellcast. This is perfect for Avalantar, right? Because he's always looking back from head to toe. Should a thief attempt to backstab the wizard or anyone else who attacks the mage's rear, the wizard will take full damage from the attack, but the attacker will be hit with a blast of pure force that does twice the damage of the attack with no save. There you go. Paranoid spellcaster ability. Duration is 1 turn per level. So you'll see that throw up. And this is a GREYHAWK spellbook spell. There may be some variations of this in other setting books or whatever, but yeah. So you like that? Now, my favorite GREYHAWK spellbook, close to of all time, and you've seen this in my game. I know that Coco has it. Fornlin has it. A couple other people have this spell. I think Nixolia has it too. And it's coming up here 3rd level, and that is Force Ball. Okay. This is one of my favorites here. Now, it is much smaller. And once again, I modified this too, as you can see, Tom. Max Bescher. So the range is 30 feet plus 30 feet per level. Duration is instantaneous. The area effect is only 10-foot radius. Saving throw for half. This spell is identical to Fireball, except that it inflicts damage with an exploding globe of magic missile-like force. So basically the same, and I've never made a Force Mage. There's not enough spells. But this spell is basically a magic missile area effect spell. It's die 6 per level. It's only 10-foot radius. Note my change here. This spell may not be used by elementalists. This is a general mage spell only, so you're not going to see fire elementalists throw this up. This is only meant for the general mage. It's also a rare spell. Yeah, and it's a cool. Now, a burst of shielding will absorb the damage just like a magic missile. Yep, but a shield spell will not because it's area effect. So there you go. Yeah, Conan, this ball of bat guano and sawdust cut from a giant's club.
Wow, that can be hard to get to if you're particular about your spell components.
Absolutely.
You need to go out hunting giants first, or at least get there. Yeah,
you're not throwing this. You're not throwing this all around all over. Fireball's 30-foot radius. This is only 10-foot radius. You're going to get two giants at most.
Jay, have you been so mischievous as a DM that you've sold false spell components?
I've done that once in a blue moon. I've done that once.
Yeah, I had a nefarious spell component place, and
that's me.
So that was like, that is me. But it's a way. It's the instead of cursed weapons, it's a way to get to spellcasters by cursing them in a cool way, so to speak, by selling false or they're not as good as they say they be components.
Death Ray, go on into the internet and type up the Great Net Spellbook. It came out between like 1998 and 2001.
See if I can find
Great Net Spellbook, and then a lot like I'm talking about. Now you got to cull through this, man. It took me months to cull through that thing. But that's how I built my fire, air, earth, para, elementalist, all those with supplemental spells all over the place to give them their own spell lists, because you needed to have all these spells. So that's where the Great Net Spellbook is what you want. Yeah, and then there's so many spells. Yeah. GREYHAWK is, It is. It's really cool. All right, Great Net Spellbook is what you want to look for. You also find the Great Net Librum of Wild Magic, which I definitely use as well. They're the two I use. All right, so, and here's Spider Call, another call spell there. Yeah, these are just the ones that I pulled off the Great Net Spellbook, made, and notice everyone says I modified it. I don't put Lord Gazumma there. I'm putting Lord Scott there instead. That's how old it is. But note this. Tom asked, what percent of spells do I change? So, anyone know a major spell, a really major spell that I made a change to? There's two of them, and they're third level in first edition Player's Handbook. Does anyone know what spells I'm talking about? Yeah, Greg, you were on, man, because you played in the game. 100% I made changes to haste and slow. Why did I do that, Greg? What do you think my thought process is on that? There's a main reason I did that. Yeah. Well, that's it. Ed spell. Well, yeah, Bill, we already did Agonizer Scorcher. Not the aging. Greg's basically right. They are overpowered, and games became a race to who could haste up the party quicker. Whoever got a knit started hasting up players, and it just was too much, because there were area effect spells back in the day. And I'm like, it's just too much. So over time, and it has not been that long in the mage realm. So Tom, here's your question. I make changes a lot. I don't know what the percent is. My guess is the percent is like 5% at most, because there's just so many spells. All right, here's haste. Area effect, right? And there it is. Area effect is 4x4 area, one creature per level. Single target for me now. Same thing with slow, which there's no save. I know Farland has that spell as well, and used, and also Solus had that spell, and he used it as well on the Arumvarax Saturday. to slow it down, and that is third level as well. No save. Slow area effect is so devastatingly crazy. It just doesn't make sense here. Yeah, look, area effect 4x4 area, one creature per level. Saving throw none. You're gonna slowing an entire. It takes the fun out of the game. Single target, you go after that nasty fighter,
Yeah.
the archer, whatever. Boom. So no, there's no
Yeah,
save and slow.
I'm looking into time tweaks overall, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's because I see them as meddling with them in a lot of sense. So there will be some severe. It will not be. I want to have them I want to have all the classic spells, but some of these need to be in
Yeah.
Hawktails that will be tweaked severely.
They need
so
to
to
be.
speak. So,
So
yeah.
well, that's a good idea,
And
man.
there's some of these crippling spell. Yeah.
I just know the way we play, the style we play, evolution over 45 years. What I want and what I don't want in my game, and that's the race, the haste race I used to call it.
Yeah, but I think that's a really good point overall, is that since the magic system and spells are so tied into and tweak, that's one of the major things, so you can circumvent a lot of rules and you can make exceptions and tweaks. So that means that you need to have them that fits the and if you have a certain play style, you need to often tweak your magic in order to stay within it, meaning how crippling should conditions and stuff be, and also you have like one kill spells that you how powerful, how many spells should be a one kill thing, so to speak, even on you miss a save or suck, so to speak, save or die spells, for instance, that were very popular in old school first edition games.
So sleep's a good one.
Man from our back. Yeah, sleep. Yeah, man from our back. That's an interesting. All should have saves. Yeah, in Hawktails, I usually go. They either you either need. Usually, there's like two versions of the way spells works. Either you have to target someone by targeting them, so you have a target roll to hit, or there is a save, so to speak. Those are the usual ones. But then you have things that are more like that go everything in an area and stuff like that. They have saves, but there are some spells that are like Magic Missile, for instance, that doesn't have a save traditionally. I want to keep it that way, but it's really it's really tricky when there's some things that are margins, so to speak, that goes into it. And I think there are two things that you need to consider. One is how does it affect a party, so to speak? Can it cripple a party outright? Like an enemy uses a sleep spell that simply wipes out the party and then they get killed outright. That is no fun. But also spells that cripples no matter what the level. So you have like the major villain or a big dragon or demon lord comes in, or I use or whatever, and you cast one spell and he's simply taken out of action for 6 rounds, and then they can just kill him.
Well, that shouldn't happen against any deity.
Exactly.
A deity should get a save.
But even if like against the big dragon, if you have a big bad evil guy, you need to start thinking, how should spells work against the party or the major villain? And that's where I think you should think about how you want it to work. So yeah.
So is Bill, are you on? Bill's going to tell you how I limit this spell, sleep. And if he's on still. If he's not, then I'll tell you. But Bill or Tom, how do I limit the sleep spell? Sleep spell range is, so if you're first level, the range is only 40 feet. But you can sleep up to 4 hit die creatures. Now it's 0 to 1, right? And it's all a combination. There's a math crossover that does it, but like you don't get all them. So you gotta like for example, if you have a null which is 2+ hit die, 1 to 4, and then you have 8 goblins. You're getting the goblins over the null. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't give the spell out in their initial spell book. That's how I limit it. It's first level.
Yeah.
I never give a new mage sleep.
But you have another limitation with sleep, meaning how difficult or how easy it is for anyone who's affected by it to wake up again.
Well,
meaning sleep might you might have it simple that if you disturb someone who's 5 feet away or something, that then you wake up easy, so to speak. So
Yeah.
so you should have a so there are many different ways you can hamper a spell. And I think, yeah, you pointed out another good one, so to speak. How difficult is it to learn or acquire new spells? Because in some campaigns and rules, you simply
Yep.
choose whatever. When you level up, you choose whatever two
Michael?
spells from the spell book or something from player's handbook.
Good question.
But I want the wizard or something. You have to actually go out and learn or acquire it on a
Absolutely.
scroll or gain it somehow, so to speak. Spells don't grow on trees, or you have to research it, you have to figure it out, you have to see it being cast, or some other way in order to acquire it.
Not seeing being cast. You gotta. So here are the options. So when you level up in my game, and this is why being an Altamira, being a Narwhal, being Greyhawk, if you are a member of what was it? Remember affects highest to lowest hit die. Was it a different? I do it lowest to highest, but it's okay. On sleep, and it's random.
Yeah, I think your lowest
And
to
it's friend or
highest is
foe.
how
It's
I
friend or
would do it.
foe. None of this sculpting shit
Yeah,
in
it's
fifth
everyone.
edition. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? No, none of that. You're blasting your own friends and foe if they're in the effect. So, number one, if you're part of a wizard's guild, you can research 2 spells when you level up in my game. 2. All right. If not, you can do your own self research and get 1. It's got to be something that's regular. I'm not giving these rare spells out unless they're in the library of that you are a member of. Okay. 2, scrolls. You pen off a scroll. Say you get a scroll of Fireball, and you can't cast it now. So, say your 3rd level, you'll cast it at your 5th. You got a 10% chance of failing the writing into your book to put it in, but it destroys the scroll. 3, enemy spell books. Once you write them out of that spell book into yours, it's gone from the spell book. I don't want spells like multiplying, right? So I limit it that way. So
In Hotels, I have it. You can learn, you can research a spell being cast, so to speak. You can research it out of thin air, but that's really hard unless the more powerful you are. If you're 10th level character who know arcane in and out, you can easily research cantrips and stuff. But you can also, if you see a spell being cast, that's easier than to research something from scratch, so to speak. But to find it but also scrolls have a language. That means that you need to understand that language. So that's that. Meaning you can have a Realmordian script. It's like a standard Ridian language for writing spells, and and you have primal casters. You have like wood carvings. So you have old flan rune carvings. Those are the ones for a lot of druid spells. So if you don't know that language, that's it. So there are different languages that you have to learn in order to read a spell book or a scroll or something from that source.
Hence, in 1st and 2nd edition, that's why the no spell percentage. That's the spell percentage you're going to write in a spell you can normally cast, right?
Yeah.
So, and if it's higher level, it's 5% per level difference, right? That's the way I do it. I don't want. It's easier for me to say write them in right away because I just don't want stuff piling up. Oh, well, I have this in my book at 4th. I have this. Just, put them in right away. It just makes it easier for me. One second here. Let me go to intelligence here. Let me go to intelligence. Here it is. Hey, Mike. Thanks a lot, man. There you go. Here's your no spell percent. And these are very important in the old school game. Yep. So, there you go. I was working on my GREYHAWK campaign today. Reading Len's articles and spells always a fruitful read. Yeah, well, Len does some cool things. So, yeah, very true. Do you consider enemy scrolls found to be one of the best treasures for mages? Well, I'll give you an example, Varl. Saturday's game, I did not have a lot of magic items in Saturday's game when they killed the witch, but they got the witch's book. And from the book, because there was a mix of witch spells and mage spells in that book, because she was a high secret order witch, they're allowed to get a choice of 3. And that's 3 no spell rolls to put spells into their, and we haven't done that yet. And that was both Fornlin and Solus, both mages that were on. Yep. That flesh rot spell. Well, that was a high secret order spell. That was not a mage spell there, Greg. Yeah. talk about Tim. Tim brought me onto the High Secret Order witches a long time ago. Go to Dragon 106, Dungeon 106, I think. No, Dragon 106, the one with the scantily clad chick on the stone structure that they got into trouble with. That one, I think it's 106. Yeah,
Dragon
I
106.
think it's Dragon 106. Yeah. And then there's old ones too. Fosco, thank you very much. Thank you very much. 3 months. Thank you, man. Thank you. Very kind of you. Really appreciate it. Let's get another hype train running there. Someone hit us up with 100. Thanks, Moose. So, I think it's 106. Am I wrong on that? Is it different? 118?
That's the paladin. That's the
No,
paladin.
it's the paladin
with
one.
the little
Plethora of
dragon on the
paladins.
thing. Yeah, the paladin in front of the horse. That with the tiny
114,
little
Greg
dragon
said.
on
114.
114.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can't remember them all the time, but
I think you're amazing what you do when it comes to your dragons. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We said this earlier. Instead of plethora of paladins, I go
that's
Crusaders.
witches spell list.
Yeah. And there's one that can age up to 100 years, and that was another one that was some nasty spells. All right. So, where else? What other highlights do I have? Now, you all know I love stealing from Ed, right? All the time.
And then use it against him.
I'm using it against him all the time. And you all know where I'm going. If you know me, let me go. Here's a couple books that are must-haves. What page is that? 32. All right. This book is a must-have. Let me bring them both up here so I don't have to go back and forth. Okay. All 3 of them. All right. Now, all these may be in the Wizard Spell Compendiums, right? But this book is awesome. Pages from the Mages and then Prayers from the Faithful. Mm-hmm. These are great books. These Prayers from the Faithful spells you can add into your specialty priests all the time to give them even more flavor. Because look at the deities in here. Ilmater I have. Leviator's in here. I mean, my God. Yeah. All sorts of things you can utilize. Sylvanas is Serenus in our game. Torm, Helm is... I use Helm and is it Heronius? Helm and Mahine. Yeah. I'm gonna make you break the bank there. Yeah, absolutely. For great references. So, Pages from the Mages has a listing of great spells. I don't care that says it's Forgotten Realms. I really don't. But here are all these books now. All right, are they just in here? No, a lot of these are probably out. You don't need to find these unique books, but look at how many are done, right? Let's go to some of the most popular spells I have in my campaign, and that is, we'll go to page 32 here. And this is something Ed did not create, because we know Andy Collins here, the Collective Wisdom of Snowlock, right? Now these appear, I know that these spells are in Icewind Dale and Icewind Dale 2. And that's Snowlock Snowball Swarm, one of my favorites. Now, because second level is lacking area effect spells, right? Damage. Snowlock Snowball Swarm does die 3 per level, right? And it doesn't bounce back on you. Now, I did change the area effect from 30-foot radius to 20 on this. I thought it was too big on this. So there's another change I made, 20-foot radius. Ed's Argles and Dragons are always favorites. Yep. Always, Manfred, always. And, like I said, Ed will be back on here two Sundays. And we have a really cool topic. I'll discuss that in the end. So die 3 per level. So say you're 9th level, it does 9 die 3. So that's an 18 average. If they make their save to take 9 points still, and it doesn't bounce back like a fireball does. You throw it in the corner, it would go 20-20 the other directions, but it doesn't on 20 out from the center point. But it's not taking up the whole room or the whole hallway like a fireball is going to. There's no bounce back on it specifically. So what do? I create a better version because I just felt like it, right? And Ravalantar has it. I think he's the only one who has it. Actually, there's another person who has it, but let me. Where is it? See now, why isn't it showing? I did something, Anna. Let me just type this in.
Oh.
No, I could have sworn I made a. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. No wonder. All right. So I make Snorlax, Snowball, Avalanche. Just add, because there's only two Snorlax spells. So Ravalantar got this.
How many higher level is it? The Snowball is level 1 and fifth level.
Fifth
okay,
level.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is 3 die 3 per level of the caster. So Ed's throwing out 27 die 3 snowballs, right? Storms. It's only 20-foot radius. Same thing, no bounce back. And look, the material components are 3 chunks of ice or 3 pearls of 50 gold piece minimum value each. There you go.
That means that you only cast that in a winter landscape.
Well, if you have pearls, though, or pearls. If you have the pearls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or 3 pearls. 20-foot radius, boom. So, and the range is 10 yards per level, so that's 270 feet for a caster of 9th level. So there you go. And that's not, but it's rare. And so Ravalantar has it, and one other character has it, and that's it. Snorlax, Snowball, Avalanche. Getting it out in there. I didn't want to make it another name because I wanted to do an ode to Andy Collins' Snorlax because we've used that forever. So that's what I created there, and that's that. I don't know. That's only been a year. I think that's one of the newer ones. Yeah, I mean, it would still work in the desert. It's still going to blast you, you know. Look, and it does a bonus point against fire using. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Whoops. Oh no, I just closed everything. I closed that entire thing. Oh, that's all right. Let me flip back. So that's a fun spell. It'd be funny to me. All righty. So let me. I gotta bring all this back up here. All right. Let's go back to pages from the mages here. There's other good spells in here.
Yeah, one back. That is a great one to have. Those dragons, I had that too. The dragon magazines, the 250. Yeah.
Right, but now also you should have every spell from Dragon magazine during the first and second edition era should be in these 4 wizard spell compendiums, right, 1 through 4. Now finding these is almost impossible, right? Finding the PDF's not that hard. So, yeah. But, yeah. And that Dragon Magazine compilation thing up to 250 is perfect, too. 100%. All right. So, let's see what other spells I have in here that I've used. I think, all right. Because they'll talk about these books, and there'll be spells, like for example, this Against the Undead's Corpse Light, Cloak from Undead. A lot of spells that already exist are in here. These spells are in the Necromancer listing now. I have for a Necromancer spell, Ward Against Undead. They're all there. The Outcast. Okay, sir. I'm trying to think of which ones I've used. Let me just go through and note spells. All right. So these spells, the Arcanabula of Joom. These spells are in the Shadow Mage list I have for Shadow Mage Thief, Shadow Mage Bounty Hunter. So Dark Mirror is there and Shadow Hand are both in there. One's 2nd, one's 5th. So they exist. So from this book, Prismatic Eye, another one, which is cool. It's like a wizard eye. Shadow Gauntlet, another spell. They're all in my. I needed them because I didn't have any shadow spells. They're all in my Shadow Mage spell list. And let me make sure that I'm not a liar here, Anna, because I would not want to be lying. Shadow Mage. Shadow Mage spell list. Yep, see, look, and it has a P next to it because it came out in first in a Dragon magazine, and then we used them here, and then I found out they were in pages from the mages. So that tends to what happened. Here's the listing of all the Shadow Mage spells. So, yep. All right, cool. Hail Cone, Phase Trap. Thunder Lance is another spell I use. It's in General Magic User. Another cool spell. Book of Bats. Another Necromancer spell. This one is specifically a Necromancer spell. Belton's Burning Blood. So it's in my Necromancer list. Bill uses this all the time. So a mage can cause any creature who is presently bearing open bleeding wounds to suffer 3 to 4 points of damage per round. Last 3 rounds. By causing a subtle temporary change in the victim's blood. It causes it to become corrosive to adjacent tissue. That's pretty gross. I think they get a save every round. Yeah, and it continues. Yeah, I think you got to save every round. You take 3 die 4. Hey, Jeremy. So that's another cool one. Belton's Burning Blood. I know that was another spell I wanted to find when Icewind Dale and Icewind Dale 2 came out the games, because I knew that was another spell in it. That one may be in Baldur's Gate 2 as well. I can't remember specifically. Bone Javelin, another spell for necromancers. There's a lot of necromancer spells in here. That negative plane protection, there's others in it, so I don't use that. Sometimes spells overlap and you just don't want to use them. Let's keep on going here. I think Ruby Ray of Reversal's in here too. I mean, this thing's huge. So get it. I mean, if you want a great book that's going to show you a ton of spells, you're like, oh my god, I can use this, I can use that. This is the one to get for wizards. Pages from the Mages. Is there a module with the name Belton in it? Well, if there is, Jeremy, I don't know it because I don't know Forgotten Realms, but my guess is yes. My guess is yes. This is Pages from the Mages. And then the second one is, if you want to go Priest, I'm sorry, I closed everything out. I hate when I do that. When you click an X on, instead of on everything, Person to Faithful. Both of them. What's up, Chad? Hope you had fun Saturday. Chad's playing his Earth Elementalist on Saturday. Prayers from the Faithful, that's another one. Like I said, all these deities here, and a lot of them convert over for us. These are all books that you find, like, tomes of healer. Yeah, awesome. Yep, very cool. Lots and lots of good stuff in this one. All right, now the quintessential coup de grace of all of them, Anna, is this book. Because one of my favorites of all time is in this book. Has so many great spells in it.
Oh yeah,
the Seven Sisters. Another Ed writing. This book has my favorite necromancer spell of all time in it. What is that, everyone? I use it a lot. Whenever I have a necromancer on the bad guy side, it's coming.
Oh yeah, I think the one that Eric Mona.
Oh yeah, that shitty spell he called it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah. All right. So
he had an opinion about that one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Look what I just turned to, Chad. I randomly turned to your spell Iron Maiden, which is Earth Elementalist only in us. So as an example, this made it to Earth Elementalists in my game only. This spell brings into being a helmed horror that fights for the caster with absolute loyalty until destroyed. So there, 1 round per level duration. And here are its stats. Hit die 13, 88 hit points. It just has a normal weapon. It can dimension door once per day, and it's immune to magic missiles and dispel magic and lightning bolt. So this spell was used Saturday by Vamp's character, his Earth Elementals. He has it in his book. So just randomly took it to us. There's a lot of great Laeral spells in here too, like Laeral's Raging Griffin. All sorts of really cool ones. Here's Laeral's Gesture. Let me go. All right. Here is another unbelievable spell that made it into my necromancer list from this book. Sword Shun. Now my guys hate this spell. So it's 4th level. I believe it's 4th. A necromancer will take a dagger, stab himself in the shoulder. All right. This battle spell sees little use because the caster must deliberately wound herself with a bladed weapon to cast it. The weapon does normal damage plus 1 hit point every second round thereafter. And that healing cannot be healed only through time. So it's only necromancers in my game here. All right. While the weapons in the wound, however, no other bladed or piercing weapons of any sort can harm the caster. So they're damaging themselves and they're taking a little damage each round, but they're immune to long swords and all sorts of stuff. So you better have your blunt weapons ready. So Blood Mage would be cool for this too, Sparky. That would be cool for a Blood Mage too. Yep. Healing magic applied to the caster while the weapon uses cast a spell and plays are delayed in effect by Sword Shun enhancement. So there you go. The spell ends where the caster loses consciousness once they put the negatives or the weapon is removed. So you can walk through a blade barrier unharmed. Edge weapons and missiles do not work, but blunts do full damage. Yes. Thank you, Ed. Ed wrote these. So you can always say, Ed, Jay showed me all your spells you made that I screwed up my players with, and it's your fault. You can always just say blame Ed for this. All right, here we go. The coup de grace of all spells, Flesh Shiver. This is the one that Eric calls that shitty spell. Only necromancers in my game. 10 foot per level. So 5 saves, and they're con saves. So you want to target another spellcaster with this. This spell affects any single creature the caster can see within range. So normally you gotta be 9th level necromancer. No, 10th, I think. You gotta be 10th to get necromancer spells, are the same as illusionist. 100 feet. All right. 4 saves. Right arm, make a con save. Left arm, make a con save. Right leg, left leg, make a con save. Neck, make a con save. You fail your con. 5 constitution. Limb is broken with accompanying 1d6.2 and loss of mobility. And then a system shock. And if you neck breaks and you fail your system shock, you're dead. So, yes. The material component for this spell is a bone, which is broken during spellcasting. Chicken bones are often used, Anna. So Ed's like, you're not tricking me on the components. Just get some chicken bones. So
that's funny.
Yes, I know, but I'm just joking around, Dragger, here about Ed. So this is like my favorite of all Ed's favorite spells out of the Seven Sisters book is Flesh Shiver. Mm-hmm. Man, you could put a massive hurt on a low con character. So you're not casting on fighters, for the most part. You're casting on spellcasters, maybe thieves. You're casting on someone who's really going to pay the effects of that. So there you go, 5th level spell. Yeah, it's a great book. Mooncloak's a cool spell too. There's a lot of spells that are only available outdoors and at night, which is cool. We have some from Alpha, from Nelson, that was like Alpha's Night of the Leonids and stuff like that. This Mooncloak spell can only be used under a moonlight sky as well. So you got some great. Let me see if there's anything beyond this that I use all the time. Steel Webs. Bright Song, Double Steel. That makes a duplicate of any blade. Well, these are 6 and up, and you don't see them that often in my game. Oh, is Many Jaws in here? Many Jaws may not be in this one. That's 3rd level. That's another. Ed loves that spell, and he uses it all the time in my game. I don't think it's in this book though. There's Acid Lash. Let me check. 3rd level. Cloak of Demos. Laryl's Dancing Dwemer. No, I don't think it's. Yeah, it is. Okay, here's Many Jaws. Another good spell Ed uses all the time. So you get these 1 pair of clashing jaws per level of the caster. So you get these like chompers, say you're 9th level all around. They can attack 1. So if the mage changes the target, that's an action. They can't cast another spell. But once they let it go on someone, they can leave it there. So these jaws do 1d4 points of damage per jaw per round. Magical armor provides some protection. So pluses on anything. I count rings of protection too. Leather armor, shields, rings of protection. I count them all. Normally this gets reduced down to 1 to 2 or 1 point per level. So the minimum you're going to see from a 9th level caster is 9 points of damage. Then they save each round. So you're taking 4 or 5 points or 9. That's a lot of damage it adds up though. On these, this is best cast on monsters who don't have magic protection. Magical armor on, cast it on monsters. That's what Ed's learned. His own spell. Ed's learning his own spells. He casts this on like whatever it is, that has doesn't have shields and things like that. So yeah, and he'll switch it out. So he loves that spell. So that's Many Jaws. Steel Dance is another spell, and this spell, I believe this spell also, he uses this, and this spell also I think is a helm spell, priest of helm spell as well, I think. So he gets 4 weapons, and they only last 2 rounds, but every time the weapon hits, it does 6 points of damage, and a THAC0 of 6, so it hits, and they're considered +4 magical weapons. So 2 rounds, he's got these swords dancing around, 4 dancing swords that attack, so he uses that one too. I give him a lot of his spells. He deserves it, right? Right, Anna? Ed deserves to use his own spells. So plus I used them against him. So yeah. So that's some of the great. This book is if you can only afford 1 book and you want to buy it in hard copy, you get this one. I mean, I get that or Pages from the Mages. Seven Sisters or Pages from the Mages are the 2. Man, they are just awesome. Awesome, awesome spells. So yep. Alrighty. Look at this. Hey, we only got a half hour to go. I've been babbling a lot tonight, Anna.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
This is good. This is your topic. Yeah.
Well, all right. Shall we go to the?
I can.
You're
Yeah,
right. Go ahead, Anna. Good. What are you
No, I
gonna
was
say?
going to say, I have the magic fonts. Blood magic is one of them. That's
Oh, cool.
Orcish. Yeah, so I have a
Go for
bunch
it.
of magic fonts, and there are certain spells that, so if you find them, there are certain spells that can probably only be described. You have to transcribe them from that language, so to speak. So the spell books and stuff. So you have Orcish blood magic. That's one of them, and works for arcane or divine spells, because a lot of shamans can cast orcish shamans, whatever, can cast both of them. So, and then you have dvur godly runes, divine magic, because the dwarves aren't that keen on arcane; they're primarily divine. Flan carvings, that's for druidic magic. But it works both for primal and divine magic. And then you have Mitric Solace. That's from a lot of divine magic written in Voluna and stuff. Used Mitric Solace is a magical writing they use in Voluna and stuff. And then you have Olmen Knots. That's the old Olmen way of putting their magic in. Works for a lot of different types of magic. And then you have Relmordian script. That's the standard that was used throughout the Great Kingdom from wizards and stuff. So that was Relmordian script. And then you have Two of Tattoos. Tattoo magic is where you store spells on your body or someone else's body, so you can cast them there, and they can come with special rules, so to speak, and special limitations, and you need to learn them in order to use that magic that might be tied into them. And you have another one, Vecna Skincraft.
Oh my God!
Vecna used Skincraft or Skincraft as a way of doing it. So as a nasty way. I'm going to invent more of them. But there's a way to add flavor and make certain spells difficult or kind of very special and hard to get to and stuff. So that's one. So I call it magic font. So that's how you can store, preserve, and use, have magic stored, and you can use them when you memorize magic, or you can use them in scrolls, and you can store them, and you can also use them for magic traps and stuff like that. So that's the language certain magic can be transcribed into, so to speak.
So I use tattoo magic as well, but it's very rare. And there's only two known tattoo, or it's all Old Faith. There's only two left that are known. One is in the Cairn Hills, not far from the Doom Grinder. The other one is in the Defiled Glades. And where I got the rules for that from is the Relic and Rituals books. So it would be this here. Let me just throw
I wanted to have like scarification for humanoids and others to use as a way of as well. So I'm going to invent more of these.
That's good. Yeah. And you're always going to be adding to your game. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So yep.
And these names, you change them. You change them to the right things. So we have the healing one is Pelor's Blessing. In fact, Rosie has it tattooed on her head. So. Yeah, it's fun. I did outdo him there, Curtis. I didn't realize he was inscribed with a whole bunch of stuff. That's pretty cool. So yeah, outdouched him. That's funny. All right, a last place, a place that everyone should know, and like, what do I do with these? And that is, and this goes back, and and this is how we came up with our own custom class, right? You got GREYHAWK Adventures, and we know Jim Ward said they put this together in record time. Someone who we'll never know who, unless someone says, "Oh yeah, I was a writer on that and I did it." We don't know who made all these spells, right? We don't know a lot about this because Jim never would tell us.
Are all of them unique from here? Aren't a few of them from earlier Dragon magazine articles and stuff? They're from here. Okay.
They're all unique from here. These spells under this section. Yeah. None of them are from Dragons. They're all brand new, unique spells. by Big B, and so we wanted them to keep their novelty, right? And then Alan figured out we're going to do the GREYHAWK Mage, and that's how a lot of these are still being utilized. But look at them all, nice still. It's crazy how many there are. Luke, and that's what Revelantor is, an Luke mage. I threw a Rary mage up against them at GaryCon, and just look. I mean, how many spells you see here? There's got to be well over 100 spells. Tensor has some unbelievable spells. So because Tensor's like Tensor's transformation isn't in here, Anna, or Tensor's floating disc isn't in here. So there are named spells. Like all the Big B's fist spells aren't in here. They're all in the original player's handbook. So there are no reprints in here. These are all brand new spells, which means some of these you have a ton of spells for, more and more. And I got lists down of each, but there aren't enough, so I'm not going to share because he's writing these up, but these are all of our supplemental new GREYHAWK Mage spells. These are all brand new. Pages and pages of them. And you may see some of these being cast, like Luke's Incendiary Wave. Ed was going to cast that, and I was going to you're going to wipe out your whole party with it. He's like, oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because I was going to create a lava wave going across the entire room. So, you got to figure out the technical stuff. But we got a ton of spells. Just from TR Stafford. We don't know. Yes, exactly, BB. We just don't know who did them. I don't think we'll ever know, unfortunately. Now, this spell, this Tensor's Giant Strength, doesn't make sense. Alan changed this because it's weaker than the Strength first level spell, the way it's set on the Mage level, because, normally a 12th level Mage is casting this, and
I think a spell like that should simply, you increase it by this much, period, so to speak. That would be the way. Otherwise, that way it will it will benefit everyone you cast it on, so to speak.
Yeah,
it will go up by a level X amount, so to speak. That I think is the way you go. You simply boost whatever the target has as a +2 or +3 or whatever. The more powerful it is, you boost it by this much.
Now, please note that these spells are available for a general mage if they're able to find them. Now, all these spells are hidden down in the Great Library GREYHAWK, and that's why they're called GREYHAWK Mages. They all exist there, but some of them filter out.
Yeah, so that's one question. Since when you have all these special classes, so you come out with beforehand when you create the class, say, a spell casting class, you can use these spells, period, so to speak.
I'll give you an example.
How would that work?
So I'll give you an example. That's a good question. So let's go to Fire Elemental. So I'm just going to bring up the Fire Elementalist list.
Yeah. That's a good example.
I'll bring that up.
Test case here.
Yeah. It's probably going to say fire spells 1 to 2 fire. Because I got
also you have a elementalist, but you also then have fire elementalist.
There are 6 different elementalists. Yeah. There's 6. Yeah. So from that, I'm trying to think if I put them in their own folder. Hold on. Earth spells. Let me just see. All right, let's do Earth. I have the Earth Elementalist list here.
Yeah.
All right, so because Chad has an Earth Elementalist. The Earth Elementalist. Now, second edition, it says they can't use the opposite sphere, which is air, but they can use all the other ones. I said no. I got enough spells here. They can use Earth, General Mage spells. If they want to cast Detect Magic, they can cast it. Cast Sleep.
Do you use that concept of universal schools? So there are some spells that everybody can cast no matter what.
I call it general.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So for example, they cannot cast a general. They can't cast Lightning Bolt. They can't cast Fireball. They can't cast a spell that is in the Mage list that's on another Elementalist. So they can't cast Fireball. They can't cast Ice Storm. The Earth Elementalist can't. But note, so you have some spells here that are, like here, Stone Skin, right? Stone Skin's here. That's in Arcana or Dig. Those spells, Fire Elementalist can't cast Dig. just as an example. So
But you when you create the class, you said these are the spells it can.
these are the spells that are unique to their
Yeah,
list, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so then when you
Yeah.
play the cast, you still have to learn them, find them on a scroll or something like that.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Now they're going to have an initial spell book,
Yeah.
and then they can learn spells,
Yeah.
from their as they
Yeah.
go
And
up.
if they
Yeah.
want to research or tweak or add to it, that will be on a case by case basis. And they have to kind
Absolutely.
of go over. Yeah.
But they know in my game, I give out a lot of scrolls with spells on them or spell books they get from opposing baddie
But that means that
spellcasters.
they can still, even if the spell is in the book and it's
Right.
something that is
They
not
can-
on this list, then they wouldn't be able to cast it.
Absolutely, unless it, like I said, general. Now the one exception, they can cast general mage spells. The exception to that force ball. So and that's how it works, and that gives them unique flavor. That's how I figured it out. I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want like the earth elementals to be able to cast cold spells and cast fire spells and not cast air. It makes no sense. It just didn't, because now I've added quasi elementalist, which is lightning, magnetism, and energy, and power elementals, which is all the other crap. Right. So hey Tim, how was your game? How was your game?
Hello.
Okay, I have laryngitis.
Do you really? I thought you were pretending you were Batman.
No, actually, it hurts.
It does hurt. It does hurt.
Sounds terrible. You
I was
sound
just-
sound worse than me. Yeah.
It only hurts like right here. It's not up here. It's just here. But I
How
was
was
just
how was
you're
your
talking
game?
about spells, right?
Yeah.
I was just going to throw in rainbow as one of
Yes. You like
Yeah.
Rainbow out of Arcana?
Yeah, because I actually used that successfully with Murdoch once.
You did. You did. Are you okay to tell the story?
I just wanted to throw that out there and then get off because my
Yeah, you do. Yeah, they said it in chat. You should do the dance them instead, or use sign language or something.
Give a quick synopsis, 10 seconds of what you did with the Rainbow spell. You raised everyone up from a cliff, didn't you? Wasn't that it?
yeah.
Yeah, I got
My voice hurts.
Oh, Rainbow's an original. Is it no? I'm in Druid. No wonder I can't find it. I thought it was an Arcana.
It's pretty high level.
Yeah.
You can make a bow out of it. You can make a bridge,
Yeah. Hold on.
and you make it
Here
like
it is.
a
Rainbow. All right, I found
like
it.
a level platform thing that can raise.
Here we go. Here's Rainbow. 5th level, clerical spell, Arcana. Cleric must be in sight of a rainbow of any sort, have a special component. See below. The Rainbow spells 4 applications. These applications are bow, shimmering multi-layer bow, right? And really nasty. And then you can change the color of the bow, right? All these different colors. Bridge causes the rainbow to form a 7-hued bridge. Elevator, that's what you did.
Yeah.
Elevator. When desired, the caster can cause the rainbow to lift his or her person and all those within a 10-foot radius skyward. I remember that. Yeah, absolutely. And so movement on the elevator's rate is 12 inches. That's a quick movement.
It was a big deal because it was like, oh,
Yeah, absolutely. And flagon. Rainbow swirls and condenses into a 7-colored vessel, which contains 7 measures of pure water. And look at all the special things it can do. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Well, I hope you're feeling better. You working tomorrow?
yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'll just stop quiet.
Yeah,
Well, you'll just give him the stare
I
down.
I'll work on my active listening.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on and sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time I had laryngitis was years and years ago. My wife and I were going to go on this couples retreat for the chaplaincy in Korea, right? And the chaplain was organizing it. And right before I went, I got laryngitis. Like, couldn't talk at all. And I thought, well, God's telling me I got to listen a little bit more. So there you go.
Sometimes, sometimes that's the way it goes.
Save your voice. Yeah.
But dude, man, yeah, just
Anyway.
appreciate you coming on, man. That's awesome.
No problem.
And
Good seeing you.
let me know about July 5th
I will.
when you can. So
Sure.
we'll talk about
Bye,
that.
everyone.
See you, Tim.
Bye.
The ever mysterious Tim, everyone. Hey, we got Tim for a little bit there. Yeah, so he's Rainbow. I remember that specifically, him using that. That's cool. So, how do you take something? There's so many spells out there. It depends on the size of your campaign. Hey, Rick. My suggestion is, and it's not class based, but that's, I'm talking about for me.
Oh, but this I have the same issue. So please go on and yeah, because I think you could come with the same advice.
Is to create some kind of specialty, whether it's a class or ability. Like, for example, we created the GREYHAWK Mage because we wanted these spells in the campaign. I don't want these all. Oh, I mean, even though general mages can use these, like everyone knows this spell in my game. You even use this with Imri. Tensor Steady Aim, for example.
Oh yeah, it's a cool spell.
So you can do your full movement rate and shoot without any penalties, right?
Yep.
On that, unless a turn per level. So that's a cool spell. So you may see that pop up in general, or a Tensor's Deadly Strike, which gives you crits. There's all sorts of things you can do.
I love these tensor make you better to fight spells.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And a tensor mage, it comes on and really can enhance a party.
They are, yeah, and I made in Hawktails, I made a higher version, a higher level version of Steady Aim that makes you really lethal.
Cool.
So yeah, and also it gives you prowess, so general combat ability and more attacks and stuff. So the one that make you a warrior. I forgot the spell. The other
Tensor's Transformation.
Transformation.
7th level.
Yeah. Yep. Those are really powerful spells that can make you an instant warrior out of you for a few rounds or a little bit.
So there is a spell, and I shared this once before. Let me find it. See if I can find it, because that was in the DM's the player's option high level spell list. I forget when I saw it in a book, and I saw this spell, and there was one tensor spell in there, and I memorized it because I didn't want to buy it at the time. This has got to be late 90s when it first came out. I'm not spending all the money for this one spell because I didn't like anything else in it, and that's called Tensor's Telling Blow. So I memorized it. This is 9th level. The duration is instantaneous. The range is line of sight. Okay? 1 round.
That is nasty. So if you're on a mountaintop, you can cast it 50 miles away?
Yeah, if you can see it. Yeah,
wow. That's an interesting range.
That should say half.
Yeah.
50 by 50 square. It's from the DMO high-level campaigns book. This is Tensor's most powerful attack spell. It inflicts 20 die 8 plus 20 points of damage to all within the area effect. The blow may only be targeted on an individual that is previously engaged in melee combat. I remember
that the caster have engaged with, or
no, just someone who's fighting. You have to be fighting and engaged in melee combat already. You can't cast on an army coming forward. They have to be already fighting. Gotcha. That was the one thing on the telling blow. Yeah, it's friend or foe in this area effect as well. So yeah. Yep. We won't get there tonight, Rick, because we're off in 5 to 10 minutes. So, but I appreciate it. But we can bring you back on in the future, man, and definitely do it. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's the highest level tensor spell I've ever seen at 9th level, and it's in that DMO high level campaign book. So there you go. Memorize that one. Yeah, high level campaigns. So, any questions from anyone on spells? Or I know we just scratched the surface, man. Literally, I mean, because I love my guys not knowing what's coming at them, right? And when you're playing old school 1E, 2E, and you just have up to the player's handbook and Arcana, it gets old fast. Now, that's why I was welcoming all the stuff that Ed had done in that first, second edition era, all those spells, all those other third edition books are back converted. Do you give bonus spells for magic users like for high int or specialization? I do not. But if you are a straight mage, you get one of my bonus. Let me see if I can go find this here. That's not my feats one. It's under proficiencies. Give me a sec here. Proficiencies. I don't have my right book up here. So I have a list of feats and that go into the proficiency system, Greg. A straight illusionist, necromancer, or mage with no multi-class capability gets extra spell slot at third, which means at third they'll have 2 first, 1 second. An extra spell slot allows them to flexibly take an extra spell in any level lower than their highest level. So a lot of mages, a lot of multi-class fighter mages will take this. So say you're a 7th level mage and you have 4 first, 3 second, 2 first, 1 third. Well, then you can take a bonus third at it, bonus second or first, whatever you want. Normally you take a third in that case, right? And that's a freebie, so they can still take it as a feat if they want to in addition. But that's straight class only. Also, I give out a lot of items that give bonus slots. For example, I don't know where, Chad's character, Elisar, I got them all right here because I was doing experience for him. So, and that's not the right ones. That's the next group. I got too much out. He's got a cape that gives him a bonus 2nd level spell, for example. That's how I do it with mages. That's how I give them more spells, and that's how I make them a little more useful at lower levels. So I don't do it for mages on that high end bonus because they all have high end. So yeah. All right, makes sense. Good question. But you see how many spells like Farland has and Ravalanter has. They got a lot of spells. They have lots of spells because they have extra spell slot and they have, they have items that, they have pearls of power. That's another one I give that you can recast an existing spell that you cast off. Yeah. So, yep. That's it. You got to build, and you just got to build it in so that that was the number one complaint. And I explained that to Ed. I said, Ed, that's why Agonizer Scorcher can't be 2nd level in my game. Mages get a lot of spells in my game. They're not just one-shots and off. Yeah, exactly. Wings of Wizardry too, Rick. Exactly. You got it. Pearls of Power are great. Yeah, and that's the way you do it. That's the way you balance out. You also give them some more wands. Don't give them wands of fireballs or whatever. Give them a wand of magic missiles. Give them a wand of shadow bolts. Give them a wand of burning hands so they can be useful. So, yeah, exactly. It's a good question, though. Rings of spell storing too, Moose, but they tend to go to non-spellcasters. Right? The ring of spell storing. You want them in a non-spellcaster's hand. Can you imagine having a fighter with a ring of spell storing with mirror image on it? Now they got to get it refilled.
Oh, so they can non-spellcaster use the spell in a spell.
And a ring of spell storing, absolutely. That's a whole first edition thing, cool. Absolutely. So say a ring of spell storing could have, this ring of spell storing has blur, shield, and mirror image on it. Once and it's cast at 7th level. So they cast the mirror image before they go into a fight. Boom, they still have the blur and they still have the shield on it. But that's gone until a spellcaster of the proper level recasts a spell in. And you have to pay for that, right? So, yeah, absolutely. It's a regular, old school, first edition item in Dungeon Master's Guide. Rings of spell storing. Yep, good point, Moose. Staff of the Magi, very powerful Gargamund. Staffs of Magi, Staffs of Power.
They're
very powerful. You rarely see them in my game. There are still some characters who have them. I don't think I've given one of those out in a long time. Because I'm tired of seeing them, the good guys, Retributor striking them and thinking they're going to survive.
I was just going to say, you can go boom with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have had that happen. So I tend to not give those out as much. There's a lot of items I don't give out. I don't give out Robes of Eyes anymore. I don't give out Helms of Brilliance. They're just too nasty. Toothbrush of the Dentist. That's funny, John. I'll give that out all day. Yeah. They are pushing it, Manfred, and that's why I just don't belong in my regular game. I don't want to give, like, for example, Saturday. I want to give Fawnlin, Coco's character, an item. It's going to make her so much more powerful over all the rest of the characters in her party. What fun's that, right? It's all about balance. Not Rod of Leadership. Rod of Beguiling is one of the nastiest imbalancing items in the campaign because there's no save on the Rods of Beguiling 2 in first edition. Staves that don't have Retributor Strike and found it much more fun. That's another way to do it, Rick. You can always take out the Retributor Strike capability. I always give out, I'll give out a staff, a +1 staff to a mage, +1 or a necromancer, +1 staff with spectral hand on it once per day. There you go. Now they don't have to use the spectral hand spell on their spell slot, and they can use the spectral hand to do touch heals, or they can do burning hands through spectral hand, or they can do vampiric touch. But that's what I'll do. I'll put magic items effects on items all the time. Do that all the time. I do that with swords. There's swords with healing spells on them. All the time we'll do that. So yeah, it's part of the fun of the game. It's just all about having fun and making sure that your players are entertained. Right? That's the most important thing. Enjoy the campaign, right, Anna? Enjoy what you're putting together. I'm assuming you're having a blast doing it, right?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of fun, and yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of the show here. So yeah,
okay,
we are at the end.
We're at the end. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's been great fun, and I'm going to start. I was supposed to have launched the first in a series of articles on the state of Hawktails, because I keep referring to and talk about it all the time, and I've been working on it for 4 years now, and it started to. I've run 60 sessions all in all. Some of them have only been like skirmish with me and one other person. We've done some skirmishing, up to 6-hour convention games using it. So it's ready for alpha version 2. And so I will present the different subsystems and stuff, because it started out as just Project House rules, because to get it up in the beginning, and then I realized 4 years ago, no, I'm going to rewrite my version of D&D from the ground up, so to speak, because I felt like I needed a system that works for me, and the magic system so it's part of tying into it, so to speak. So now I feel that now the first alpha was not feature complete. The second one will. All the systems will be in place, so to speak, which has been fun, because some of them really ties into spells and stuff. So the magic fonts is one of them, and also healing spells and stuff works are in some ways more powerful and in some ways more limited, which goes all over the place when it comes to Hawktails. It's more diverse in that sense. So you have way more powerful magic on top, but it could be powerful but only casted during certain circumstances and stuff. So I'm going to present it in a series of articles going subsystem by subsystem, and talk a little bit why I made the choices I made. And because now is the time to get criticism in, because I want to hear people yelling at me, say that's a dumb idea and stuff. So then I can take my alpha and then turn a lot of the criticism and start thinking, oh, that was the dumb idea, and then take it into beta status, so to speak, and make it into more really playable. It's playable the way it is, and I got a lot of positive feedback. I've already changed from early days. I've simplified the skills, and the saves are straight now, so to speak, and they are merged into one, for instance. So that's one thing. There's no separate saves. You use the skills to save. And so if you're good at acrobatics, that means that you're good at getting you out of way for saves. So like your dex saves, so to speak, they become. So if you're good at acrobatics and athletics, then you can get out of harm's way easier. So it gets a double effect that way. So there is a bunch of stuff like this, and that comes with more bells and whistles that are added in. So when you start low level, it will feel just like any version of D&D very much. And then when you go up in level and you get more and you do nastier stuff.
Yeah, you feel the customization more.
Exactly. Then you feel the customizations, and that's part of the design. So it starts out simple, and then it gets more complicated the longer you play it. So that's one of the design constraints that I've done. So and there is no classes. So magic users are limited. You can specialize. If you only want to learn one school of spells, you can, or one strain of spells. Let's say you only want to dabble in shadow magic. You can do that if you want to. Or you can only do phase stuff or something, or you want to be the best elementalists possible. You can do that. And you can specialize in various magic, or you simply want to be a generalist and be able to cast almost anything. and so on. So yeah, and we talked mainly about arcane magic today, but we dabble in some of the other stuff too.
Yeah,
So
we talked some clerical stuff
there's
early
arcane,
on.
divine, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
There's arcane, divine, and primal magic. Those are the three conduits how you get the magic, so to speak. You figure it out yourself, or use your talents, or you have some other creature giving it to you, or you attune with nature, so to speak. Those are the three ways to get it. So yeah, so that was a very quick little rundown on the magic system, and their blood magic and tattoo magic and a whole bunch of stuff like that too.
Blood magic is, that was always in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, my brain shut off. Dragon Age, and I loved it. So what's
Yeah.
So so a couple, two items. So Slate, which is Dessa's character in the Bone Baddies, for example, he's got a short sword that allows him to dimension door by himself once per day, up to like 200 feet away, or it's either 100 or 200. So, for example, and then here's an example of a ring. Tim's got the ring. This is Tim Truly, Ring of Dwarven Acuity. Adds 1 armor class and adds 2 spells once per day, which are Clangeddin spells, Dwarven Zeal, and Ignore Late Wounds. So, just items, and he's a paladin who has that. So, just to give you some ideas on other characters and what they can have, and what they can get in the campaign. All right, so what's I doing here? What is going on, Anna, coming up? This is Monday, so we're going to be, it's like a quick comeback when we're on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to say, I was supposed to have posted stuff, but we got a little bit of a health scare that turned out to be nothing, thankfully. So yeah, that was, thank you. But yeah, so we have a little bit of a health scare. Not me, but it was my husband here. So, but it turned out to just be a side effect of a new medication. So it was, but it threw us off for a loop here for a couple of days, but now we're back on track again. So yeah,
I'm glad.
So that's why I got a little bit of delayed here for a bit. So, but I'll catch up with my posting on during the week here. So yeah.
Oh my God, I got way too many. Give me one sec here. Oh my gosh, I got way too many banners. This is the most I've ever, I think, had stacked up already. Let me just do this, do this, do this, do this. I think I got them all in order. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. All right. Let's see what we got here. This is what's coming up. So Wednesday night, we're going to keep it up on deities. They're going rogue deities at GREYHAWK. This is Mike's idea.
Yeah.
So, Norbo and all those. You're going to see, we'll talk about, all the different deities that have with thieves and assassins. Maybe some bards too in GREYHAWK. So that'll be Wednesday. That'll be a fun topic. For us. Then Thursday night we continue.
Thank you, Curtis. Yeah.
I think we're going to continue this because Walt's out because he's got something he has to do. So I got to work with my guys to see what we're going to do this Thursday because this is super high level. I know a lot of you saw the fight. It's insane. These characters are nuts. Up to 15th level characters I'm playing because my guys wanted to play high level, so we decided to do it. But that's Thursday. Saturday, the banner's not done, but Rob's into. So it's going to be a night of Ulick adventure. So I got Brett, I got Curtis, I got Coco, I got Rob, Phantom, and Jay in, and then we'll see who else. And it's TBD still. I haven't finished it yet, but that'll be, and it's going to start at 11 to give the West Coasters. So it's only 8:00 for them. So we're starting at 11. All right. So yeah. Yeah, Knights of York and Fritz, you got it. So that'll be a fun game. So we got, like I said, Phantom NJ's in here, so we got 4, and then I've asked a couple other people. We'll see when they say yes or no, and we'll go from there. So that's this Saturday, 11 a.m. All right, and then Sunday night, Doug Niles is on for the first time this week. Yes,
looking forward to that.
Yep. Yes, that is going to be awesome. You get to sleep in, Rob. That'll be first time ever. Really, come with your questions ready on this. That'll be Doug coming up on Gabbin for the first time next Sunday coming up. All right, and then after that, the Saturday after that, they got the Champions of Avon back. I got the core group of 4 here, and then we'll have some others. So that's TBD. That's 10 a.m. back Sunday, June 7th. Saturday, June 7th. That's a week from Saturday. Then Sunday, the 8th. Is Ed, okay, And this one's called, and this was Eric Boyd's idea. There Be Dragons, introducing elements beyond the campaign focus.
Oh, that's a tricky.
That's a
Yeah.
deep one. We'll let Ed talk.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh yeah, but I come up with cool idea. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yes. So that'll be Ed on Sunday, June 8th. And then way out beyond that is the 24-hour stream. Saturday, July 5th at 10 a.m. we start. That's 7 for you guys, for the West Coasters. But I'm going to run Baldrin's Beacon. I'm going to run this for them. None of them have played it. Core group of 5 with 1 to 2 add-ins every 6 to 8 hours. So we'll have some characters jumping in and out. Excuse me. Hey, thanks, David Keith. So we'll have some special guests hopping in every couple hours. And we'll play till we're done. And so it may take 24 hours, it may take 18. I don't know how long it's going to take. It may take more than 24. But we go till we're finished it. So that'll be, and that'll be the same characters that probably we will play this Saturday. We'll play in that game too. That's enough. So that's my 24-hour. People are like, why are you doing that? Well, what's up, Dale? My next surgery is Thursday, August 14th. So I'm going to stuff in as much as I can before I go out again. So, yep. And thank you. We have over 100 people on a Monday night, Anna. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So let me post a
It's all right, Dale.
link
Yeah,
to
please.
my Patreon here. Just
Last call for Classic D&D reprints. Give the giveaway tonight. Thank you all for the support. You know, really appreciate it. You guys have all cranked it up over the time. Darling's on doing miniature painting. We're definitely going to go into her. Just note that
was wrong link. There we go.
Yeah, just note that we'll have some fun coming up this week. Remember, we're on it Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Big week coming up. And it'll be on Friday night. So you got every night after. Yeah, thanks, Old. I figured it would be a good time to do that because I always get questions where spells come from that I use in the game. You know, so it was the time I wanted to hit that up. Gotcha, Dale. All right, let's do the giveaway. Exclamation point drawing. Let's see who wins tonight. Rick, we'll have you on in the future. I got the next 3 Gabbins locked up. I got after Ed, I got something on the 15th already. It's crazy how much we got going now, but we'll get you in there definitely. Let's close this out.
Thank you.
Here we go. Winner tonight is Dale.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so funny. I don't even know what I have that you don't have yet. So, but I'm out of gift certificates for Troll Lord. Do you got Morning Kane's Fantastic Adventure, Dale? Do you got that? I'm thinking you may not have that. There you go. Wow. Look at that.
Good one.
Sometimes you got to be lucky. Damn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. There we go. All righty. That sounds good, man. Nice. Perfect. All right. We're going to wait in the Darling. Oh, you do? Oh, Dale. You're killing me. Killing me, Smalls.
I was going to say that Dale probably has everything.
How about Ravenloft 2? You got Ravenloft 2? House in Griffin Hill? How about that? That's really obscure.
Yeah.
I bet she doesn't have that. That's a real,
He's looking through
that's a real obscure one.
quick.
Yeah, they probably have Ravenloft, but not 2.
It will take me half an hour to go through my collection.
It would take me,
yeah,
more than that, way more than that.
You have to run down in the basement too.
All right, no Ravenloft. So if I can find, the original one, I'll send you both, and maybe in here. If not, I'll send you that, or just that.
Wow.
I think I have both. So all right, let's rock and roll into Darling with almost 100. That'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. So Rob, I'll be in touch with you. All right, about Saturday, and we'll continue onward. And thank you all for. Thanks all for a great stream on a Monday night. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, this was a blast.
Yeah.
and you all know during football season, a lot of Gabbins go to Monday nights instead of Sundays, depending on what's going on. So, but we're Fosco. Thank you for joining in, and please, everyone ask questions at any point. That's how we come up with a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we got unbelievable content coming up this next week. It's going to be a blast. So we'll see you all in 2 days. See you Wednesday night for Rogue Deities of GREYHAWK.
Yep.
I'm going to hit a wrong button here. On my stream deck here. Oh boy, I almost hit it. There we go. So, awesome! Alrighty. Setting the rate up. Probably gonna be like 80 something because there's a lot of people already on here already. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you all Wednesday night. Because a lot of people are already on both, so it doesn't show.
Yeah.
Right. Just make sure. There we go.
Yep, popped over.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then I share that my resub. Great show, Anna. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was just a sidekick.